Well, welcome to the Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez, where we talk everything real estate. Today, my guest is Skye Michaels with Heart Coaching. Skye, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Very good. Okay, so I always start off the shows by asking, how did you get started in real estate? So tell me your story.
I love origin stories, by the way. It's the best thing about realtors. We all have different origin stories. Yep. So I graduated from Syracuse University in 2000 as a high school history teacher.
Okay.
I grew up poor, and I was so excited because I graduated from college, and I was like, yay, I got a full-time job. And I was like, oh shit, I'm still poor.
Right.
So every teacher has a side gig. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do as a side gig.
Right.
Painting, moving, whatever it might be. And I had a conversation with a teacher at my school. I was at Haverford High School out in Delaware County.
Right.
He said, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would get my real estate license, sell real estate part-time, and be a teacher full-time. He's like, the best of both worlds. So I was like, huh. Went online, Googled, Poley Associates came up. I signed right up. And in 2002, I got my real estate license thinking I was just going to be a part-time realtor.
Okay.
I got in, and Paul Gallagher, my very first broker owner, dear mentor of mine, and I just took to it like a fish in water.
Right.
And I did both. I taught and sold real estate for about 3 years, but I was basically working 2 full-time jobs. Mm-hmm. So 2005 is when I went full-time.
Okay. Now, with that, are you originally from the Philadelphia area? Because you said Syracuse.
Yeah, great question. I grew up in upstate New York. So I moved down here mainly because I wanted to live in a city, but teach in a suburb. So Philadelphia, Boston, and DC were the 3 options.
Okay.
I went to Syracuse. So McNabb came here. So I joke around. He followed me. No, I'm kidding. And actually 2 of my teammates, I was on the crew team in Syracuse. 2 of my teammates were moving down here. So it sort of seemed perfect. I got a great job. It all worked out.
Okay. So next question. How did you start with coaching?
Yeah.
How long did that happen? How did that evolve?
Yeah. So I was part of Coldwell Banker Preferred in 2005 to 2013. So at Coldwell Banker Preferred, I started becoming a little more successful. Mm-hmm. I was the #1 individual agent there in 2011 and 12. And so I would often be on like panels, or I was doing some mentoring. Mm-hmm. So it was very natural to me because of the fact I was a high school history teacher. Right. I sort of missed it. It's in your blood. It's in my blood. And then I switched into Keller Williams in 2013. And at KW, teaching and coaching is really part of the makeup of that company. It's a really deeply inbred into the culture. And so I started leading classes and teaching younger agents when I went to KW. In 2016, I formed KW Philly with other partners. So I was part of the original founding group. And I led the training and education part of that company for a couple of years before I moved to Compass.
Let me ask you a question there. Yeah. So your training, your material, was this just organic of what you learned, the best practice? Were there courses?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's a great question. I'm a Buffini Ninja background, right? So early in my career, I took, it actually was a CRS Ninja courses a really long time ago, before Ninja became an actual teaching program. And so from the very early on, I became this repeat and referral agent. And then I did some Buffini training as well, really early on. And then as I grew my business, I really just developed my own brand around making sure you build a repeat referral business. So when I was getting into Keller Williams does a great job of the cold lead generation. It doesn't have as much of that repeat referral backbone, I found. Right. So a lot of my material was my original material, developed over the years with a backbone in Buffini and Ninja.
Okay, great. Now, when you went to Compass, did you go there to just strictly coach at that point?
Great
or were
question.
you still doing both?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
So in 2017, I was married for 10 years. I have a beautiful divorce now. I have a great relationship with my ex-wife. But in 2017, we started the process of getting separated and divorced. And I was running a 12-person team, Real Estate with Heart was the name of the team. And I needed to switch my world up a little bit because I couldn't be a full-time dad, be listing appointments, showing buyers. In 2018, Compass launched in Philadelphia. Kristen McFeely was one of the founding agents, and they'd been recruiting me. So I originally went to take a recruiting appointment just to learn more about the company, and I sort of fell in love. And what they were looking for was someone to be the managing director for Philadelphia. And it was perfect because it gave me that stability of, being a full-time employee and benefits and healthcare, salary, bonuses, without the hustle of having to run around and sell real estate.
But were you still selling or no?
No, I had actually left the sales. My team came over. My sister ran my team with a bunch of great agents as well. So my team came to Compass. I came to Compass and I took over as a managing director. And that was in 2018.
Okay. And then you travel with Compass, going to different states,
Correct.
offices, that kind of thing. And
so I started, early on, they knew I had a little bit of an educational background. I started doing training locally. When we had Compass in 2018, it was pretty small compared to what it is now. So when we had our national, retreats and get-togethers, they had me come up and speak on stage. And then, I don't know if you remember this little thing called COVID in 2020. Yeah, a little small thing. And in 2020, COVID hit. And March, we locked down. I'm home. We're all, drinking and eating, not working out, like being totally unhealthy, totally miserable, not knowing what was going to happen.
Right.
And I got really frustrated at myself. So at the end of the end of March, I was like, fuck this.
Right.
I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna start a group. I called it the 6 a.m.ers, after a group I had founded earlier on with a good friend of mine, Jake Dreyfus, called the 5 a.m.ers.
Right.
And all we did was we woke up on Tuesday and Thursday mornings early, hopped on a Zoom call, and I would interview someone, or we would just sort of talk. And we really tried to instill, healthy habits, even though we were all in lockdown. Right. That started to go viral across Compass and across the country. In addition, at the time, we needed to pivot to virtual training. So I helped form Coaching at Compass, which was our virtual training platform. And so over the next year, I did both jobs. I was doing full-time coaching for Compass, all, virtually, right, all around the country. And then I was also managing Philadelphia as well. So I had 450 agents I was managing. I was full-time coaching. And then at the end of 2021, Compass made the decision to form a formal training department and program inside the company.
Okay.
And so I was lucky enough to be part of a group, and we formed Coaching at Compass in 2021.
Okay, so now let's jump into why you decided to leave and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And, hard coaching.
Yeah. So in 2021, when I took over as head of coaching for Compass, I was traveling. So I pretty much traveled, maybe not every week, but at least 1 to 2 days, most weeks. And as a single dad, we have, 50-50 custody. I was either traveling or coming back, and then you're a full-time parent. It was really, really taxing on myself, but also my kids were 12 and 14.
Right.
The other thing too, is my life had gotten to a point where I was really stable. And I was at a point where I'm an entrepreneur. I love building businesses. I love helping people build businesses. And I desire to get back into being my own boss. So luckily, my life had stabilized. Everything was great. My kids were great. My ex-wife was great. Things were good. And everything, I was a little burnt out as well from traveling. So at the end of 2023, it was sort of like the writing was on the wall. It's just the right time to leave. It was a really hard decision because it makes you feel like you're leaving your team and your people. But at the end of the day, I knew I needed to take care of myself, and I knew I needed to sort of be there for my kids too. My kids are now 12 and 14. So I wanted to make sure I was really present. The other thing too, is I had a desire to coach people, not just inside of Compass, but everywhere.
Yeah, anywhere, right?
Yeah. So Compass is a beautiful company, amazing company, but it's 30,000 agents. There's 1.4 million agents, right? And I really wanted to make sure I created something that impacted real estate agents, also not just real estate agents, but other industries as well.
Okay. Why with hard coaching? Why?
Great question. Yeah. So there's 3 reasons. First reason is it harkens back to the history of my real estate career. So my real estate team was called Real Estate with Heart.
With Heart, right.
Second reason is my coaching philosophy all goes back into this philosophy of building a business built around forever real estate clients and treating people with care and love and kindness, and building a business that's rooted in humanity. So the word heart is one of those things that sort of anchors you into this mindset that when you encounter people, you want to treat them with that golden rule, how they should be treated. You want to make them feel like they're clients, even if they're not buying and selling.
Right.
So with heart sort of denotes the culture of what my coaching and training is all about, which is caring about people. And then the final reason I called it with heart coaching is because I didn't want to brand it just real estate. So it's really eventually will morph into other stages of industries like mortgage, title as well. And, with it just being called with heart coaching, that culture can run through any industry,
Right.
while the principles remain the same.
Okay. So your coaching style, relationship with heart,
Yep.
have your client base,
Yep.
keep on getting them back, treat them like family, that kind of
Correct.
thing. So are you still teaching like, hey, you got to make 10 phone calls a day,
Mhm.
are you rigid like that, or is it just a completely like a holistic type of look
Yeah.
of saying, hey, unless you're happy, unless the client's happy, unless tell me what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, the first thing every realtor needs to understand and know is that your superpower is your authenticity. So who you are as a person is your most powerful gift and asset. So unfortunately, a lot of realtors go through this comparison mindset where they are on social media or they're looking around. They're like, well, I think I should be like that person, or I should do this, or I was on a podcast and I heard the person say this.
Right.
Here's the reality is you should be you. You should be your authentic self, and who you are needs to shine through in your business. So the first thing I coach to is really discovering who you are as a human being and then infusing humanity into your real estate practice. Now, as far as like calling 10 people a day, that may work if there's a purpose behind it. But most realtors, you say, hey, call 10 people a day. Their first reaction is massive levels of fear,
Right.
massive levels of hesitancy because of the fact they don't want to be salesy, they don't want to be annoying, and they don't know what to say. So when you go back into a philosophy, how do you build your business? Every real estate, I call it like a fingerprint. Like, yes, there are certain principles that run through it, but for the most part, you get to apply your authenticity and your personality to it. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure you're building relationships that produce results.
Okay.
How you do that will depend upon the style of business, your length of time in the industry.
Because there's a million different ways to
Yeah.
succeed.
So I can't sit there and say to if there's 100 people in the room, everyone call 10 people.
Right.
That's the problem with the coaching industry is what
That could work for 10 people,
Yeah.
but the other 90 at one.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's also very similar to like our drug industry, like the pharmacy industry, right? Oh, you have high blood pressure? Here's a pill. Take this pill. And if you stop taking the pill, you're going to go get sick again.
Right.
They don't coach to the root of real estate and the root of the practices. So if I say to you, call 10 people a day and you do it, it's like taking that pill. Yeah, that'll work. You're going to be miserable and you're not going to be healthy and you're going to stop doing it at some point.
Right.
Right.
Right. So when you interview the agent, and we're talking about agent because you're going to go into other industries as well, and you may have already other clients
Correct.
in other industries because ultimately sales are sales, I guess up to an extent. But anyway, are you interviewing? Are you asking them,
Good question.
what is your superpower? And let's hone in on that and let's expand on that. Because what I find is the biggest issue people have in general. It doesn't have to be real estate. It could be mortgage, title, anything. They're trying to do 100 different things and they do nothing well.
That's it.
So how do you get to the nitty gritty of that?
So it depends on what program you're doing with me. So if you are going to be coaching me individually, it is a little bit of an interview intake process. My group coaching programs that I do have are more of a situation where you're giving people the parameters within which to operate, but maybe not allowing them to create the specifics. So an example of this would be if you're in a group coaching program, events. The first thing you want to do is you actually want to organize your business, not based around what you feel people are going to give you, but based around how you feel about people. So I coach to the ABC sorting and organizing system very differently. Sphere A is not your past clients.
ABC for me is always be closing, but that's what goes.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that works for you. That's your authenticity. That's great. That comes through. Perfect. But the way I recommend for most agents is organize your sphere A around people you love. Your sphere B are people you like, and then the sphere C are people you don't know or don't care about. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to create marketing and interactions based around how you feel about someone, not based around what they gave you or who they were in the past. Okay. And that's what agents like sort of get hung up on because they're like, oh, it's a past client. Like I should be calling them, but I hated him. You know what you shouldn't do? Don't call them. Email them. And it frees you up. And the reality is your A people, you probably should not be marketing to them, but you should be in a relationship with them.
Right.
Your B people, a little more marketing, but again, a relationship. Your C people, all marketing. Maybe they become an A or an B, but at the end of the day, you don't care.
So like an A person I don't know if this is an example. You can tell me yes or
Yeah.
no. But I saw on Facebook, little Johnny hit a home run. Congratulations!
Good example.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And you don't. They know who you are,
Yeah.
so you don't mention real estate at all.
Yeah.
Hey, great job, little Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Must be proud.
Yeah,
Is it more
that's
like
a
that?
good example. Another example, we'll do a little bit of a live role play. I call this climbing the ladder of the ABC. So Pat, give me something that you love. What's something in your personal life you love to do? Like an activity.
Well, I mean, I like teaching, and I like the podcast. I just like talking and communicating with people.
Okay.
I hate looking at a computer, numbers, whatever.
Yeah.
Although I have to do that a lot.
Yeah.
So that would be as far as the workplace.
Perfect example of this then, climbing the ladder ABCs. Maybe you run a training class for people in your sphere who want to learn how to do podcasts, but it's only 5 people.
Right.
B's, you would, in your sphere B, the people you like, you would email a how-to, like here's how you could build a podcast. And if, some training videos. And then your C's, you're emailing your podcast itself.
Right.
So climbing the ladder, and you could apply that across anything. Cooking.
Right.
I'm going to cook for my clients, invite them to my house, have a potluck or whatever.
Right.
My B's, I'm going to send them a recipe. The C's, I'm going to send them houses with great kitchens.
Right.
So again, you get to, this is like the framework to build within, but maybe not the exact specifics, because the specifics should be something I care about. So for me, it's like one of those things like, all right, if I don't care about something, I'm not going to be vested in it.
Mm-hmm.
If I care about something, that authenticity comes through, and that's what people gravitate to. People want to work with people that they respect, they like, and who they sort of are similar. Mm-hmm. And when you are putting something forward that you love, you attract other people that love that as well. And that usually tends to be your best client base.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So would that be your main focus? Like, in other words, if somebody comes to you, can you turn around after, talking to them, interviewing them, saying, I can see why this person may be having trouble or what have you. Like, is that like, because one of the questions I was going to ask, hey, what is the one thing, if you want to be successful, what do you have to do? Now, that could be 20 different things because everybody's a little bit different. I understand that.
That's right.
But is that what you think is like the secret sauce? Or?
Picture a pie with 4 slices. Mm-hmm. This piece of the pie is half of the pie, right? If you don't have that piece of the pie, we can't do the other pieces. The next piece of the coaching for me is you identify the 3 other things, or picture buckets, or however you want to describe it. I like the visual of a pie.
Right.
At least 50% of the pie should be your sphere, repeat referral, people you know that are coming and working with you. And then those other 3 pieces you get to choose. Could be open houses, social media,
right?
FISBOs, expireds, cold calls, leads.
So instead of doing 100 different things,
4.
The 4, and the main one is
repeat referral. Exactly. Because of the fact, high conversion rate, it's free, it's enjoyable, it's long-term, and it compounds upon itself.
Right. Open
houses, you got to continue to sit open houses to produce. With repeat referral, as you do more, it continues to sort of expand and grow without you. If I have 200 past clients and I'm in a good relationship with them, the hope is 15, 20% may refer me.
Right.
Now that 200 becomes 300. Well, 15, 20% refer me.
Don't get bigger.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the idea. But then I don't worry about everything in real estate. And we see this with social media. A lot of agents are like, I should do social media, but they hate it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. So why focus on it? Instead, maybe you love in-person interaction, so do open houses, right? Do your sphere and open houses, and maybe you pick another bucket along lines of referral network around the country, with other realtors.
Okay, so now you're coaching, because now everything's Zoom and that kind of thing. So you can have clients anywhere, correct?
Anywhere. I have clients all across the country. I don't have anyone international yet, but
okay.
Eventually.
And now, how do you market yourself as far as that? How do people know about? That's
great.
Coaching with Art or with our coaching.
Well, your podcast is one. So the irony of running a coaching business is exactly like running a real estate business. So the first thing is my CRM. I have a database of 25,000 people that I've curated over the years. Realtors, for the most part, it's probably 98% realtors, and then some people outside of it. So that's the first thing. And the biggest thing with my database is being very, very selective with the email marketing. we get this all the time.
Right.
How many people just spam you and you're getting,
Yes.
3 emails a week and you're like, you eventually unsubscribe.
Right.
Any email I send out, my goal is to make sure I provide something of value for free. Right. And then if I am marketing something, it should lead into that. So maybe if it's open house training I'm doing,
Right.
I want to provide, here's a really good follow-up email after your open house that you could use.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the full training, but I'm going to give you something of value. This way you try to avoid the unsubscribes, but you also want to generate positive interaction with people. The other interesting thing as well is I try to get addresses, and I actually do old school mail marketing as
Because
well.
people open up mail more than the emails nowadays.
Most of my realtors, they're probably getting hundreds of emails. They get zero marketing from any other coaching company in the mail.
Right.
And as long as it's good and valuable, et cetera, then that has been really productive. And then I actually have some old school lead generation stuff where I send gifts out. I have birthdays. I have other things that I do to make people feel like they matter. And I organize my business in the exact same model,
Right.
where I have the ABCs and I have people that I love,
Right.
people that I like and I know a little bit, and then everyone else who I don't really, know. But I had a database of 25,000 people.
Right.
And that I really try to structure. I don't send gifts to 25,000 people. I send gifts to 300.
Right.
Right. Postcards go to 600. Emails go to 25,000.
Right.
So that's a good example.
Perfect. Okay. So if somebody want to learn more about your coaching,
Yeah.
learn more about you,
Yep.
how would they get a hold of you?
So I have a website. It's nice and easy. It's www.withheartcoaching.com. So nice and easy. My email is Skye, Skye, @withheartcoaching.com. My Instagram is @Skye, Skye Michaels, which is a little different, Michiels. And those are the 3 best methods to get a hold of me.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thanks. It was super interesting
Great.
aspect, because the business I'm in, it's the same type of stuff, So a lot of things that you're saying, I'm telling my team as well, not as good, of course, but yeah, I see a lot of cross ideas and similarities and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So thanks once again. Well, that's the Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe below. Subscribe below. We need more subscribers. I have great guests like Skye. Great guests like Skye. Also, leave a comment. Tell me things that you like, you don't like. Tell me some show topics that we can cover in the future. Remember, this show is everything real estate, no limits. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next week.